Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to I guess this is now our sixth edition of connecting in with local leaders of our community who are all seeking election, who are many of whom will end up being and forming our next city council here in Ottawa. My name is Rick Chase. I'm a volunteer with the Ottawa Board of Trade, working closely with our advocacy committee. Before we get to the candidates, very briefly, a little bit about the Ottawa Board of Trade. We're a membership-driven organization here in Ottawa. We're nonpartisan, and we're a not-for-profit organization. We serve the business community primarily, but we do have a lens and a point of view that business drives community, community drives business. So we work very closely with a lot of stakeholders and partners in the city, including the United Way, including last night we hosted a debate that had partnership with the Labour Congress here in Ottawa, the Labour Council, I should say. We work closely with other associations such as Ottawa Tourism, Invest Ottawa, our local BIAs throughout the community as well. So really, by pulling all of that together, we believe that we are the voice of business for Ottawa. The work that we do from an advocacy standpoint, so some of our members join because of business to business networking, some members join because of education, but many members also join because of advocacy. You know, if you're thinking a typical small business really doesn't have the owners of a small business rarely have the opportunity to get to a city council meeting and talk with council and maybe share a concern or share, something that they feel is important. We see this as our place and as a collection of great team and staff members, and also a collection of volunteers. We can collect those messages and bring them collectively to City Council. Hence why we're so excited to have all of you here with us today. And we know that you're down to the wire, and there's just a few days left. So we're very appreciative that you have taken a bit of time to connect here with our membership. You probably have 150 things still on your to-do list, so we're going to be respectful of your time here today, but we're very appreciative. The Ottawa Board of Trade for this campaign in particular has built a strategy. We've gone to our membership and said, hey, what are the things that are most important to you, to your business, to your employees? And we have 5 priorities, and I'd invite anybody to take a look at buildupottawa.ca, where we really explore those priorities in depth. That's also where this recording is hosted. So if you clicked on this link in an email, you can also go to the buildupottawa.ca site and see a little bit more about the top 5 priorities from a business community perspective. Okay, that's enough on the Ottawa Board of Trade, and let's hear from candidates who have taken some time and maybe given up eating lunch today just to be with us. So what I'll do is I'll give everybody here on the line about 1 minute or so. I'll go roundtable, give you about a minute to introduce yourself. I'm soft moderating. So you'll see if you're watching me, I'll kind of wave a bit of just a white piece of paper. It's not very fancy, but I'll wave a white piece of paper. That's giving you about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You don't have to stop when you see the paper, but just giving you a bit of a warning. Finish up your thought, especially as we get going throughout the afternoon here. I downloaded a fancy randomizer that's totally unnecessary. I could have just put all your names in a hat, but well, they said, hey, would you like to do this? Yeah, I'm going to download every tool I can. Okay. So first up, Leigh-Andrea Brunet, who's from Ward 21, which is Rideau and Rideau Jockville, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'll turn it over to you, Leigh-Andrea. Give us about a minute. Tell us about yourself and why you're seeking office.
All right, thank you. Thank you for including me in this roundtable event. So it is Rideau Jock, so 2 rivers that border our ward. So we are a large rural ward here in Ottawa. So I'll just kind of speak particularly to what we're kind of dealing with today and why I'm running for office. So one of the things that I would like to see happen in our ward is just our communities develop responsibly. So we have Manotick, the village of Manotick, and the village of Richmond with exponential growth right now. So I want to make sure that we have growth that is done responsibly, sustainably, that we have opportunities for local economic growth, we have opportunities for those small business owners to set up shop and be there. So Also in North Gore, we had over the last 3 years, there's been an issue with one of the properties here that really we wanted to see it slated for local economic development, and it now may be lost for sort of outside ownership, mass development coming into that area. So those are some of the concerns that I have, and some of the reasons that I decided to run for council here in Ward 21.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it over now to Dan O'Brien from Ward 20, Osgood.
Hi, I am a lifelong resident of the Osgood area. I live just south of the village. The main reason that I decided to run was I really wasn't too happy with the previous, some of the choices that the previous council had made. My priorities include affordable housing. I'm involved with 2 seniors buildings, one in Metcalfe and one in Osgood, and definitely getting an education on the lack of availability. Both those buildings have waiting lists in excess of 4 years now to get into them. While I've been on the door knocking trail, discovering that policing is definitely an issue, speeding seemed to be the #1 comment that I was receiving, and those would be things that I would like to address as well. My background it was in business. I had a fairly large school bus company, and in the agricultural community as well. I've been involved in many boards over the years. That sort of sums it up.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. Over now to Greg Pataker from Ward 5, which is West Carleton. Over to you, Greg.
Yeah, so Greg Pataker. I am the former president of the Dunrom Community Association. I had spent 15 years being president there, as well as co-founder of West Carleton Disaster Relief, as well as co-founder of Dunrobin Sports for Children with Special Needs. So from a boots on the ground point of view, I've been around for quite a long time and advocating for West Carleton March. I have a high-tech background. I'm a senior designer with high tech, where the senior designer owns all aspects of the business from cradle to grave. So there's large budgetary items within that need to be worked on, and you are directly involved in those type of things. Why I'm running and what the constituents are saying are very simple. Roads are actually the #1 issue in West Carleton, which is not surprising considering we have about 800 kilometers worth of roads out in West Carleton, far outstripping any other riding. Taxes and inflation are definitely an issue, and with our tornadoes, floods, between our tornadoes, our floods, derechos, and such forth, and COVID, small businesses taking it in the chin very, very largely. So to see alleviation of the pressures that are on small business would be very, very wise. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. And over to Yvette Ashiri, who's from Ward 19, which is Orleans South Navan. Yvette, over to you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Hello, everyone. I'm Yvette Ashiri. I am running in Ward 19. So this is a community where my husband and I have been living for over a decade and are raising our 2 daughters. So as an independent candidate, I'm running because I understand the challenges that impact the living conditions of both rural and urban residents. And these socioeconomic challenges concerns us all, and our community in Orleans South Navan is growing, and we deserve a strong representation at City Hall. And I know what our community needs, and I'm dedicated to making life better for everyone. So I'm also a proud public servant, a community organizer, and I've served our community as a volunteer, as president of parent school boards, school councils, board of directors, including Montfort Hospital, Collège La Cité, and others. And members of our community, they really need more programming here and initiatives as well to ensure their safety and inclusion. And we need also to protect our environment and prioritizing the growth of our local small businesses and local farmers, especially with aiding local farmers who are still trying to recover from the May storm. So with your trust, I really want to work and address those issues and be the counselor who will be accessible to you all and walk the talk as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. Last, certainly not least, from Ward 5, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Ward 5, which is West Carleton March, Stephanie Magnham. Stephanie, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Rick, for organizing this in the Ottawa Board of Trade and Evan. This is a very important discussions that we are having moving forward in trying to collaborate radically with our business community and with our business leaders, which has never been more important than now. My name is Stephanie Magnham. I'm a successful business woman, an entrepreneur, a mother, and a community builder. I've spent over 20 years building my community up. I've served on various executives and committees across the region here in West Carleton and Canada Carleton. And I'm so very proud of all the wonderful achievements that the community leaders have been able to put forward for our residents. And I want to be able to continue to build on that great path that was laid before us so that we can ensure our rural needs are met and that we preserve our wonderful green spaces, which is incredibly important. But as a business owner, I really want to have the opportunity to be able to help support our businesses and the ones that do have these wonderful ideas for our community that have been providing a stability to the region with their ideas and inventions. And we have a large economic driver here, and we want to be able to continue to help support our farmers, which contribute tremendously to the region and the city of Ottawa. I've helped support various ministerial portfolios in my past capacities, and I'm so excited to be with you all here today.
Thank you very much. So I have a question from our business community for each of you. It'll be the same question. As I said off the top, I'm using a bit of a randomizer. So someone will go first, someone will go last. If we have still a bit of time, we might get to at least another question. I think in a perfect world, this would be a little bit more back and forth, but of course, not wanting to inadvertently endorse or maybe work against or what, right? So it's when I'm saying no, thank you, it's not because I don't want to engage and dig deeper and ask some questions, but I will say that the Board of Trade and our advocacy committee want to keep this dialogue happening, not just with City Council, but also with everybody who's taken the time to be here today. I mean, hopefully you'll be on council. I'm not saying anything like that, but what I am saying is that you're all community leaders, and regardless of election results, we want to continue to dialogue with all of you and take the great ideas that you have and merge them with the great ideas that our business community has. And so again, that's the radical collaboration that Stephanie mentioned is key to prosperity for Ottawa. It's key for Ottawa to be world class. Right, and I think we're all here because we believe that that's possible. So here's the question. Cities around the world are investing aggressively in post-pandemic economic plans to really attract talent to the city, to attract investment to their city. In Ottawa, we've been a bit slow to recover. And so how would, if you're on City Council, how do you think the city and in particular council can inspire confidence for investors and inspire confidence for entrepreneurs? So it's really about how do we inspire confidence for investors? How do we inspire confidence for entrepreneurs? And randomizer here. Greg Patrick, Greg, I'm going to turn it over to you first from Ward 5, which is West Carleton March. Greg, how do we inspire confidence for investors and entrepreneurs? And I'll give you about 2 minutes. I'll give everybody about 2 minutes. As I said before, when you see my little card go up, you don't have to immediately stop, but just finish up your thought, take an additional 10 or 15 seconds and wrap up. Over to you, Greg.
So I get this is the best way to do this is by example. In Dunrobin, we had a tornado go through, and it went through in 2018. As such, there was one of the buildings that got destroyed was it had a Dunrobin meat grocery as well as it had a chiropractic office. It had the post office and a pizza joint in it. The building itself has been built back, but nobody is in the building. And let's be realistic, with COVID going through shortly after that tornado and the floods, who would want to, as a small business owner, take that enormous risk to be able to build a business within that area and then potentially have to be shut down? So I think that really what it comes down to is small business. We have to acknowledge that small business represents, last I checked, it's a significant amount of our GDP. I won't quote it because I can't remember what it is recently, but we are not necessarily providing the tools that they need to succeed post-pandemic. What happens if we have another lockdown? What happens if those businesses open up and are stuck with major amounts of bills? At City Hall, we must recognize that this can very well be the case. It is the case for a lot of small businesses out there holding a lot of debt. How do we remove some of those burdens on them, whether it be through tax incentives, tax reductions? There must be ways in which the City of Ottawa can do that. Now, until I'm on the inside and I have a better understanding of all the levers and the buttons that can be pushed, it is not clear to me on how we go about that in its entirety. But certainly I recognize that small business is absolutely needed, and that is the first place we should focus.
Thank you very much, Greg. Over to Yvette Ashiri from Ward 19, Orleans South Navan. Yvette, how do we inspire confidence for investors and for entrepreneurs?
I think just as my, sorry, I forgot the name here. I'm not seeing him anymore. I just mentioned small business are really the backbone of our society, and inspiring confidence is a key, especially now. Just as you mentioned, we as a city, we haven't been working hard on that. So a way to inspire confidence, I think small businesses, they know better than us what are the needs. So it's important to pursue initiatives such as you are doing, the Ottawa Board of Trade, and initiatives such as Startup Ottawa, Startup Canada have been doing. So making sure to connect to connect the small businesses, to connect the entrepreneurs, so that you know, they can also find strength among themselves. But I would say also to look at what overseas are doing, that they are doing great, and to implement it here. So we need to support our small businesses, and I am committing myself to do so when elected city councillor, if I get that opportunity. And listen as well. We need to listen to the investors. We need to listen to the small businesses, and in order to know what are the needs and how we can better support them. Again, it is important also, especially in a rural area, as we are talking here, in a rural area, to also have the infrastructures to build smart, to invest into, you know, the 15 minutes neighborhoods. For example, here in the East End, something that I've been hearing a lot at the door is that there's nothing for us here. So we need to the city needs to invest into, thank you, into more infrastructures, and also making sure that public transit, is a good way that can also support our local economy. So to improve into that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvette. Over to Leigh-Andrea Brunet, she is from Ward 21, Rideau Jock. I learned to fish and learned to canoe in the Jock River. You'd think I would get it right, not call it Jockville. I'm sorry, but lots of family in Richmond. Anyway, over to you, Leigh-Andrea. How do we inspire confidence for investors and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I'll kind of echo some of the sentiments that Yvette and Greg both have mentioned. So I think that it is important that we recognize that we do need to have some protection in the industry, especially the customer service industry, which took it very, very hard over the pandemic. So ensuring that we have those programs in place so they can build their businesses back up and sort of catch up on lost revenues. I think it's identifying what's working in these other cities that are making those investments as well. Ensuring we have really strong networking programs, as you mentioned off the top, that we're consulting with the business owners, identifying what are their individual needs, what are collective needs, really having some excellent communication with those organizations, and maybe some guidance on how we can get them into different grants and programming. But again, it comes back to, I think, consultation and communication and listening to what are the needs, and then collaboratively working together and ensuring how we can meet those needs. Can we incentivize some more small businesses to open up and move into those smaller communities that don't have established businesses?
Still have about a minute if there's anything else you'd like to share.
No, I'll keep it short and sweet today.
Well, thank you. The volunteer moderator in me, who's a terrible moderator, appreciates your that sometimes I'll look down and, oh, am I supposed to do something? Okay. Thank you very much for your comments as well, Leigh-Andrea. Over to Stephanie Magnham, Ward 5, West Carleton March. Stephanie, how do we inspire confidence for our investors and entrepreneurs?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I also would like to echo what my colleague Yvette and Leigh-Andrea had mentioned, is to continue to work with our federal and provincial partners so that we can ensure the support programs are there for entrepreneurs. Anybody who has a wonderful, great idea that they would like some support in bringing that idea forward, I think that it's important that we do collaborate with our federal and provincial partners and ensuring that. But in terms of building confidence for investors to come to our city, we do need to have more infrastructure built, and that includes more housing to help support a workforce that is, traveling to be somewhere to work. So ensuring that we have transportation solutions and housing for a workforce to help support, investors coming in. That would be something that the City of Ottawa has a big role to play, and to continue to collaborate and advance those housing and transportation issues that are incredible need for anyone that wants to come and invest in our city. And making sure that we have a vibrant city where those workers also have the areas and the places that they feel happy to be playing in, and that we all enjoy. So ensuring that we do have the housing, the transportation that's needed to draw in that workforce and attract that talent and attract the investors is incredibly important moving forward.
Thank you very much. And over to Dan O'Brien. Dan, how do we attract? I need to make sure I get the question right here. I just took it off my screen. There we go. How do we inspire? Same words. How do we inspire confidence for investors and entrepreneurs? Over to you, Dan O'Brien from Ward 20. Oh, and Dan, we're just on mute. Maybe Evan can take you off mute. There you are. Go ahead.
One of the things that we need to do is cut red tape for businesses. On a small example would be allowing patios at restaurants to stay open. The restaurant industry or the food service industry was one of the hardest hit with COVID. something as simple as letting them expand their patios or continue with the larger patios would help. We have to encourage people to work with the economic development for Ottawa. Transportation was mentioned, and housing. Affordable housing is really key. I have a daughter who is 28, and I'm not really sure actually how she's going to be able to afford to buy a house. Luckily, I have 3 other daughters who are older, and they already have their homes. Without affordable housing, we're not going to be able to attract people to stay in the downtown core. Another thing that, again, getting away from the rural part, but going downtown, is we have to do better at making the downtown safer. It's definitely not getting a good reputation. I've been reading quite a lot and watching on the news of businesses being affected negatively by homelessness and stuff like that, scaring tourists away. Our airport does not have any international flights, again, stopping people from or making it harder for people to get here. We do have a lot of good amenities. We have some of the best hospitals in the world, in particular the Heart Institute. And with the construction of the new hospital, that will be a plus too. I think that's just about all I got for now.
Thank you very much, Dan. I do want to be very respectful of everybody's time. I know we're right down to where the election E-Day is maybe starting to be measured in hours instead of days now, or it's getting pretty close anyway. So I want to allow everybody here on the line the opportunity to get back into their into whatever else is on their to-do list for today. But as I said off the top, we're very thankful that everyone's given some time to come here and speak directly with the business community. We'll do our best to share your messaging out. In a perfect world, I think we target, well, here's what Stephanie said here's what Greg said, but the reality is we don't have the resources to do that. So we're packaging these up and sending them out to our membership as a whole. I will say that the Build Up Ottawa, our membership, and you've all touched on many of our key priorities from a business community perspective. Our members shared that they'd like the next council to really focus on smart infrastructure projects and that are really growth. They really have a lot of growth and economic development tightly connected to that infrastructure. Business community is talking more about affordable housing than ever before. And that means something a little different to everyone when you kind of dig a little deeper, but both, I would call it, both buckets. The affordable housing, which is we need to build more homes, period. We just need to build more homes that people want to live in. That will reduce the pricing, and there's a lot of red tape. The last estimation saw was that we're somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 a home in costs. Incremental costs to a builder, which of course gets passed along to the consumer. So how we look to reduce some of those costs, reducing red tape, but we're not the voice of the building community. But we do think that it's really important to attracting talent. We're also, though, we'd like City Council to continue to advocate and have a lens on adequate funding for community housing and for the other side of affordable housing, which is yes, we need to build more homes, and yes, that will have impact, but also that we do keep an envelope of funding available for community housing and social housing for those in the community that need that the most. As we said before, businesses want to be in cities that are charitable and that have social justice and the two drive each other. We can drive revenue from business through the taxes that we pay to be able to have a city where people really want to live, and where people really want to live drives business, and this is cyclical. These are not two separate things. We are really committed to a new hospital being built as soon as possible. in Ottawa, and doing everything possible to not revisit that hospital plan again, so that we're not 2050 before we have a world-class hospital. The world-class hospital drives business, medical technology companies, but it also brings physicians to Ottawa, which we really need more physicians who want to live and work in Ottawa. So it's a big part of our plan, and we're asking the city council to really commit to moderate, preset, give us if you give us consistency, it creates confidence, right? So from a tax increase perspective, let's create a budget that allows for consistency year in, year out. And that does mean that we'd like to see moderate, preset tax increases that we can really understand and budget for accordingly. It's a lot easier if you have uncertainty. It's harder to hire another staff person. It's just harder to do that. Last week, we're really advocating for some programming and support for policies that in the short term that really directly impacted some of the hardest hit sectors through COVID, and just about everybody's talked a little bit about that here today as well. So, and that includes businesses that are maybe some specialized programming for businesses that are owned by women, indigenous people, racialized entrepreneurs, people with disabilities, and people who are part of the LGBTQ2S plus community. And how can we think a little bit outside of the box to really support some diversity here in the city when it comes to the business community. So those are really our top 5 priorities, but it is an ongoing conversation, and we look forward to working with council to be able to have a dialogue and to be able to collaborate with council. And as I said, regardless of the election results, we look forward to collaborating with all of you as community leaders as well, and keep these roundtables going. That's our commitment as we move forward in the months and years ahead. So with that said, I wanted to thank everybody for taking some time today. As I said, very busy, I'm sure, probably giving up eating a little bit of lunch or giving up something else on your agenda to be here with us and with our members. And we couldn't be more thankful to all of you for doing that. We will have this posted on the buildupottawa.ca website, and we will also be emailing this out to our membership with the reach of around 50,000 or so. So thank you again. And back to the doors, or back to the signs, or back to whatever the plan is for this afternoon. And we will see everyone very soon. Thank you again. And to everyone who's watching at home, thank you as well. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.